I'm often drawn to abstract or experimental games because I'm interested to see what creatives and game developers have to bring to the table that are just not your standard gaming experiences, and that's certainly the case for FlipTiles Warp Lines. My tagline or elevator pitch for this game is, what if the amazing Labyrinth board game was an endless runner in space? And that sounds a bit odd, and it is, but allow me to explain. In this game, you play as a ship floating through space, but you're following specific trajectories. And as you'll see throughout the different level designs, there are warp lines that the ship is following. And you're moving constantly from left to right across the screen, but on the left-hand side, whatever's on the left-hand side of the screen will disappear constantly. And if you're on those squares and tiles when they go, it's game over, you've died. However, new stuff is constantly coming in from the right, and the longer you survive being able to move through the different warp plans because you can't control your ship directly, the more gems you get, which allows you to unlock different ship parts to customize your ship, but crucially other styles of level design that introduce more perils and problems to deal with for you to try and survive longer. So how do you control your ship? Well, you'll be flipping the tiles of the level, and that's where everything down at the bottom of the screen comes into play. You will have the ability to flip what's around you, and you'll be able to see what you're flipping dependent on the little green kind of highlighter that's around it. Each flipped tile mechanic has a cooldown in seconds before it's available to be used again, so you need to use things strategically and time things nicely. So as you move around these different warp lines or paths, you might be facing the wrong direction and going back to the left-hand side of the screen. So you might want to flip the tile vertically or horizontally to send you in a different direction. It could be that you want to flip things in a diagonal way, and that's helpful because it might be that the warp line is reaching like a diamond shape or a house shape, or curving in a way that means that you're about to hit a dead end. But if you flipped it diagonally, you'll end up on a different path on the other side. Some of them just affect your near vicinity, whereas others let you go wider and flip a larger portion of the map the other way around. And there is one single action that allows your ship to attack. And this is helpful because the longer you go in through the game, you'll see there's a red health meter at the top of the screen. And other ships will start to appear in the screen quite quickly and start shooting at you. There'll be turrets, there'll be like UFO things flying around, all kinds of stuff that's trying to kill you that you need to avoid. And again, flipping tiles can help get you out of a homing missile attack, for example, or a giant laser beam that's coming your way. You can use your attack to kill some of that as you get close to it, and that allows you to pick up gems, which again allows you to unlock more types of maps and things for your ship to customize it in the future. But ultimately, it's all about that endless runner survival by flipping tiles as you go. And that's why I go back to the board game The Amazing Labyrinth, because in that game you would pick up tiles and push everything forward and then watch something flop out the other side, but it would change the trajectory of what you could and couldn't move to next. This is the same fashion, because sometimes you can flip things to get yourself out of a dead end, but it might put you the wrong way and you're about to be killed, so you need to flip the tile and get back the other way. And it's trying to manipulate in your head where you're going to end up, and is that still the right thing for you, whilst also taking into account everything else that's around. Because if you hit a turret or another ship, for example, you just butt heads and then you turn around and go the other way. So sometimes you're thinking, oh no, I'll get myself out of one mess, but I'll put myself straight into another. It takes a while to get used to. There is a definite learning curve with this game. But what I quite liked about it was that as you move through the game, it puts down marker points for what your high score is. It then puts you onto online leaderboards so that you can see what everyone else is getting up to and how far they go. And it's a weird experimental game that is definitely not for everyone. I did find the UI, particularly in the menus, to be really clunky and quite ugly to use, because it didn't explain really what it was all doing and what it meant. And so I felt a little bit lost in the main menus. But when you get into the actual game itself, the game plays better than probably how it looks. But you're coming to this not from a I like space, I like racing vibe. You're coming to this from a real-time tactics puzzle perspective, because you don't have long to think and things get faster and faster and more chaotic the longer you stay alive. And you're really having to use all the tools in your arsenal to stay alive, because the more you use some of the tiles down at the bottom of the screen, the difficulty in this game is that you get a longer and longer refresh time before you can use something again, which then means you have to be very precise and tactical about when you trigger your next move at pace. And so it was a good little ramping up of lots of game mechanics that then made me start to like panic click things, which was not the way to go. But I did enjoy myself with it. Experimental, strange and weird, FlipTiles Warp Lines is out on the 25th of October this year. Take care. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/higherplane network. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.